'Tis the season for holiday shopping, deal hunting, and seasonal jobs. But this year, things are looking a little different. Retailers are set to add about 520,000 seasonal jobs this year. That's down from last year's 564,000 jobs, as online shopping continues to reshape the holiday workforce. In fact, 76% of American shoppers plan to do half of their holiday shopping online.
Over time, we're going to see e-commerce take a greater share of overall sales. It's something that's been steadily growing.
The retail sector is
That makes sense to me. I think one thing, especially when it comes to holiday shopping in particular, I usually look out for like Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals. And at least from historical events, usually it's pretty miserable to go in person for like a Black Friday deal. Usually it's super crowded. People can start pushing and shoving each other. It's not really worth it to try to get like those doorbuster deals. But there's still some decent deals online. And so since it's so close to the holidays, I feel like I always end up doing a good chunk of my shopping historically on those days just to get some good deals and have them ready in time for the holidays. So that definitely makes sense to lean more online, and just online in general seems to be growing. So we'll see what else they have to share on this.
expected to shrink by 0.2% annually over the next decade, as e-commerce takes a bigger bite out of in-store sales.
All retailers are leaning into e-commerce because they have realized that you need to just be where the consumer is, and the consumer's in a lot of different places.
For every e-commerce fulfillment center built, nearly 1,000 local jobs are lost each quarter. Still, online shopping is expected to create a 0.6% job boost in the next decade.
What that means is that there's just going to be less jobs for in-store work. But it doesn't mean that there will be less jobs overall. So instead of being able to run a cashier, you're going to need to know how to work a logistics center or work in a distribution center, how to load packages onto a truck or onto pallets and things like that.
Unsurprisingly, Amazon and UPS are leading the holiday hiring surge with 250,000 and 125,000 respective seasonal job openings this year. The focus isn't on stocking shelves as much as it is fulfilling and delivering online orders to customers. Will e-commerce continue to disrupt retail jobs, or is its impact overstated?
Going back to the very early days of e-commerce. So the original list of winners would be Amazon and eBay. Initial losers in the late 90s, early 2000s were Sears, Kmart, Borders, Circuit City, a lot of companies that were disrupted by Amazon.
Amazon continues to be a disruptor of big box retail and is causing competitors to continue to shift and adapt business needs to compete.
You see Walmart and Target leaning really heavily into e-commerce specifically, and you also see how their seasonal hiring patterns have changed to include supply chain roles, not just cashiers and people who are in store.
Walmart skipped holiday hires this year, opting instead for year-round hiring, while Target added 100,000 seasonal roles.
Walmart historically has been the king of fulfillment centers, managing their fulfillment centers to get consumers' items.
Walmart is also ramping up automation with 5 new distribution centers across the country, part of its push to boost e-commerce efficiency.
There's a big demand for people who work in the warehouses.
From 2007 to 2023, the number of warehouses soared in the U.S. from 14,000 to 22,000.
That makes sense. Obviously, warehouses are going to grow. That also encompasses the time of many of these online retailers kind of booming in that time, as well as COVID, where a lot of things got pushed into online retail instead of in-person retail. And it does seem like it's likely to continue. Because at least for like in-person retail, I think it's good for things like trying things on, for getting the feel of a product that you can't really do online. But everyone doesn't need to do that all the time, or not necessarily all the time for every product. And so you could probably have a single physical retail store for a lot of area for people to come to, because people can probably drive 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even more, to go to a shopping center, try out one of these products, and then like go in every so often instead of going every day. But you could be on your phone and on e-commerce site multiple times in a day for a variety of websites or apps. And so I think that trend is still going to continue. I think there's still going to be a use of physical stores for particular purposes. But I do think online and these warehouses are going to continue to expand in the future.
During the opening weekend of the holiday season, stretching from Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, the big winner was e-commerce, bringing in $41.1 billion in online sales. But that meant fewer shoppers in stores. Black Friday foot traffic dipped almost 2%.
Yeah, again, I mentioned this earlier. This makes a lot of sense to me. Usually in-person Black Friday shopping is a terrible experience, even if they do have some deals that are a little bit better. So this isn't shocking to me that a lot of people would just opt to stay at home instead of going there, and the chaos that can ensue in those situations.
Buy now, pay later is a big driver of e-commerce sales because a lot of younger consumers are gravitating towards it because they're concerned about retail credit card debt, especially high interest retail credit card debt.
I see e-commerce really continuing, especially as the minimum wage goes up. Because as the minimum wage goes up, it's harder for retailers to basically staff their brick and mortar stores. It's more expensive for them to do that.
U.S. holiday sales are projected to top $1 trillion this year, up 3.7% over 2023. However, this year's growth is lower than the higher gains of years prior.
The relative growth rate of e-commerce versus just retail, I think you're looking at more of mid-single digit versus low single digit. And we're no longer in an environment where e-commerce is growing at a 15% rate or even a double-digit rate year in and year out.
And with online sales driving growth, e-commerce is expected to create 450,000 jobs by 2026.
It's just a part of evolution and becoming more advanced as a society, so our jobs will change. But brick and mortar is still always going to play a very important role in a retailer's overall strategy. It's never going to be online only. It's always going to be a balance of in-store versus online. And the share of in-store and online is going to wax and wane depending upon where we are as a society, how people are shopping, which consumer segment is shopping.
The wonderful thing about the American labor market is that it's dynamic and it produces opportunities for people who want to work all kinds of jobs.
Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit like or subscribe. I'll see you around.